Iran has intensified its effort to track US soldiers across the region as the war moves into its third week. Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Saudi Arabia have all faced attacks, while the United States has acknowledged rising safety risks in Oman. Iranian missiles and drones have spread fear across the region, even as Tehran insists it is not targeting neighbouring countries directly.
The enemy's goal is to spread mistrust, falsely blame the Islamic Republic of Iran. The recent satanic attacks on sites in friendly and neighboring countries such as Turkey, Kuwait, and Iraq, and the attempt to ascribe them to the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran, are examples of this plot.
The IRGC said on March 15th that it had targeted Israel as well as 3 US bases in Iraq and Kuwait, presenting the latest wave of attacks as a broad regional response against both Israeli and American positions. According to Al Jazeera's live coverage, the IRGC claimed those bases were destroyed by powerful Iranian missiles and drones, although that assertion reflects Iran's own statement and not an independently verified battlefield assessment. Iran also claimed that Israeli casualties were rising, pointing to what it described as the continuous sound of ambulance sirens as evidence that its strikes were causing growing disruption and losses inside Israel. IRGC statement said, and I quote, Harir Airbase in Iraq's Erbil, as well as the Salem and Arifjan bases hosting US troops in Kuwait were destroyed by powerful Iranian missiles and drones. Unquote. In another statement, the IRGC said it was identifying the hiding places of US Army soldiers across the region, signaling that Tehran wanted to portray American personnel as direct and ongoing targets of its military campaign. The IRGC further said it had deployed precision strike drones against US personnel in the region, with Iranian messaging emphasizing that these systems were being used to track and hit American positions more accurately. IRGC statement said, and I quote, the destructive and precision strike drones of the IRGC Aerospace Force identifying the hiding places of US Army terrorist soldiers in the region. The 50th wave of Operation True Promise 4, with the blessed code Yezura, dedicated to the noble martyrs Brigadier General Ali Shadmani and Major General Haj Hossein Hamdani, against the bases of the terrorist US Army located in Al-Dafra, Fujairah, Jafir, the 5th Fleet, Ali al-Salem, Azraq, and also early warning radar stationed in the region that played a protective role for the Zionist regime, was carried out by the destructive and precision strike drones of the IRGC Aerospace Force. These drones are currently identifying the hiding places of US Army terrorist soldiers in the region, and upon obtaining information, they will act precisely. The people of the region are requested to stay away from the hiding places of American soldiers. Unquote. Meanwhile, Bahrain's Interior Ministry said that emergency sirens were activated on March 15th, indicating a fresh security alert as regional tensions and cross-border attacks continue to spread across the Gulf. Bahraini authorities urged residents to remain calm and move to the nearest safe location, showing that the government was trying to manage public safety quickly as the threat environment intensified. Saudi Arabia also said that its air defenses intercepted and destroyed drones over Riyadh and the country's eastern region, with Al Jazeera's live coverage reporting 7 drones while earlier regional reporting referenced broader waves of attempted attacks. The Kuwaiti National Guard also claimed it had downed 5 unmanned aerial vehicles over the past 24 hours, according to Al Jazeera, underscoring how the conflict is increasingly pulling multiple Gulf states into a wider defensive posture. Amid these attacks, a US government statement ordered non-emergency American government employees and their family members to leave Oman because of mounting safety risks tied to the regional conflict. Meanwhile, an Iraqi armed group said it launched 5 attacks on US bases on March 15th, adding to the growing number of threats and claimed strikes against American military installations in Iraq. The Saraya Aliyah al-Dam group specifically claimed attacks on a US site in the northern city of Erbil, presenting that location as one of its targets in the latest wave of operations. The same group also claimed to have attacked the Victoria base at Baghdad airport, widening its claimed target list to include another important US-linked military site in the Iraqi capital. On March 14th, the US embassy in Iraq's capital Baghdad was hit by a missile, according to Iraqi officials, marking another serious strike on a major American facility in the region. Iraqi security sources told Reuters that the missile hit the embassy compound and smoke rose from the building afterward, providing immediate signs of visible damage at the site. Al Jazeera, citing a source, reported that the attack destroyed part of the embassy's air defense system, suggesting the strike may have directly affected the compound's protective capabilities. 2 officials told the Associated Press that a missile struck a helipad inside the US Embassy compound in Baghdad, highlighting the depth of the impact inside the heavily fortified complex. Notably, this was described in reporting as the second time the US Embassy in Baghdad has come under attack since the war started, underlining how exposed American assets in Iraq have become during the conflict. Meanwhile, Turkey's foreign minister said he had spoken with Iran amid attacks reported around the region, reflecting Ankara's effort to stay diplomatically engaged as the fighting threatens neighboring states. However, Iran denied attacking several neighboring countries, including Kuwait, Iraq, and Turkey, even as regional governments continued reporting alerts, interceptions, and heightened military activity. I spoke with my Iranian counterpart after the recent incident, missile entering Turkish airspace. Again, they don't take responsibility for the incident. They say they didn't give the order for such an issue and have no connection to such an attack. Of course, there are technical aspects and other issues on the ground. Frankly, we are talking to them at different levels, at the military level, and at our level, regarding this contradiction between their statements and reality. These are currently being discussed. As I said, our number one priority is to prevent the war from spreading to a wider geographical area, to shorten the war's duration, for it to end as soon as possible, right away if possible, and under no circumstances to allow Turkey to be drawn into this war. On the other hand, we are seeing that separatist scenarios are being brought up for Iran this time. We are completely opposed to any plan aimed at inciting civil war in Iran and fueling conflicts along ethnic or sectarian fault lines. We warn in advance anyone who wishes to get involved in such adventures. No one should entertain such a fantasy. It is not possible for us to allow a wrong step to be taken. We agree with Germany that the war must stop immediately. Its impact on international markets is already clear, and its impact on the region is also evident. The risk of spreading is still continuing. This war needs to end as soon as possible, both in terms of geographic spread and the spread of its effects. Here as well, there should be no issue regarding Iran's territorial integrity. Objectives such as regime change should not be pursued. The region needs to return to normal as soon as possible.
Since the war started, we've been discussing with everybody, to be honest. But this time, conditions are different because the countries that we are mostly cooperating in the region now under fire, under attack. So it is really putting them in a different position now, especially Qataris, Saudis, Emiratis. You know, they are under attack, and so the way the war started and the way that it escalated is wrong and a colossal mistake on everybody's part. So we are talking to Europeans. We are talking to the Americans and some regional countries. I think every 2 or 3 days I speak to my Iranian counterparts, and my feeling is that, you know, they feel betrayed because second time they were attacked, you know, during the talks. And so I think there is no reason for them now to openly mention about the discussions. But my guess is, you know, I think they are open to any sensible back channel diplomacy. At least they should be. They should be. I think some messages maybe back and forth carry it, but first of all, we need to see the clear definition of the United States military objectives. So I think the President Trump is defining sometimes the military objectives. We need to come up with an end game plan. Well, as you know, I mean, as our president has made it very clear, you know, Turkey is a very capable country, but in this case, we don't want to be dragged into the war. I mean, because we shouldn't be provoked. We shouldn't be dragged into war. Our position is a defensive posture now. The NATO units are very much effective at this moment in intercepting missiles. So our primary objective is not to get into this war. And I said, look, the Americans and the Iranians can discuss really the nuclear issue, and we as regional countries can come together actually discuss the other two with Iran. And in our belief, because you know, as much as Iran has some problem with the United States on nuclear file, there is also some ongoing trust issues in the region. Well, if you look at the Israelis are after the worst case scenario because they don't pay the price. region pays the price, the Americans pay the price, the Europeans pay the price. They are very well off all the time. This is how they built the system around the world. So the Israelis really don't care about. They want to see the Iran as a country, a nation, gone. And they are making it very clear. They are very much revengeful. And there is no way to bring them to their senses. No, it's not possible. But the rest of the international community, I think, can work together to really address the existing problems, including the security of Israel in the region. Because Netanyahu cannot bring security to the Israelis. He can only bring war to the Israelis. Well, that is the question that we don't know the true answer, and what we know that he is alive and functioning, and I think he is partly injured as a result of the attack. But he is functioning. I think and the process of electing a new leader and the medical conditions of the new leader, I think created a gap. I think that gap has been filled by the High Command of the Revolutionary Guards. Now they are charging the war and leading the action. And structurally, as they have mentioned, they have autonomous command and control centers for different military units.
Attention all neighboring countries and the Muslim peoples of the region. The enemy, defeated on the military battlefield and in its political coalition building against Iran, has now turned to deceit and trickery. With a satanic scheme, it has copied Iran's Shahd 136 drone and, under the new name Lucas drone, is attacking illegitimate targets in countries of the region. The enemy's goal is to spread mistrust, falsely blame the Islamic Republic of Iran, and ultimately create rifts and division between Iran and its neighbors, so that it can tarnish the defensive, legal, and legitimate actions of the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran. Governments and nations of the region should know that the defensive doctrine of the Islamic Republic of Iran against the military aggressions of America and the Zionist regime is entirely lawful and based on a solid logic. The Islamic Republic of Iran, as it has repeatedly declared, only strikes the targets, centers, and interests of America and the Zionist regime, and wherever it strikes, it assumes responsibility by issuing an official statement and will answer for its consequences. The recent satanic attacks on sites in friendly and neighboring countries such as Turkey, Kuwait, and Iraq, and the attempt to ascribe them to the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran, are examples of this plot. The intelligent reactions of the officials of these countries to such deceitful and evil moves will strangle this conspiracy in its cradle. Being deceived by Satan and adopting divisive positions will only encourage the expansion of this sedition. Therefore, it is necessary that we trust one another and, by preserving unity and cooperation, force the foreign aggressive enemy to regret continuing these evil acts.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HT videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.